Welcome to the 2022 Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl pre-game press conference. Going first, Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. Following them will be the Houston Cougars. But from Louisiana, we have the head coach, Michael Desimo, defensive lineman Zion Hill-Green, and running back Chris Smith. Coach, we'll start with a statement from you and then open up to questions. Please raise your hand. We'll bring a mic to you and for those questions.
Well, on behalf of our program, our staff, our coaches, our players, I just want to say how grateful we are to be here playing in the Independence Bowl. The city of Shreveport, the people with the Independence Bowl, the volunteers, everyone who's helped put this on have been nothing short of amazing. The hospitality here has been first class, and it's always good to feel like you're in a place where you're wanted, and we've felt that way since we've been here. So, we're really excited about it. This week in Shreveport's been great. Our kids. The one thing that's fun about our team is they enjoy spending time together. They enjoy being around each other, and these bowl games are it's a reward for a job well done, and it's an opportunity for them to get to spend more time together. And this week's been a lot of fun. I'll let these guys talk about it a little bit. It's really about them. They're the ones who earned this opportunity. So we're gonna get ready to go, and Friday we'll get ready to go out there and go play. And last opportunity for this team to put it on display. So we'll be ready to go and ready to get out there and see what we can do on Friday.
Okay, we'll open up to questions. Raise your hand and we'll bring you a mic.
Zion, going into your last game in the vermilion and white for you, how special has this week been so far? How special would this game be for you? And then also we talked to Coach Morgan yesterday, and he probably expects for tomorrow to be a field day. Tomorrow to be a field day with the weather. Can you elaborate on that?
The biggest thing I've been focused on this week is probably spending time with my teammates. That's times you won't get back. Like Coach Dad said, we cherish the moments with our teammates. That's my family. That's the brotherhood. And playing our bowl game in, I'll say, in the home state, my family gets to come. They're coming about 40, a total of 40 of them. But I love that, I love the support. I love Cajun Nation, And being that this is my last one, I'm ready to have fun, have fun on the field. We stress that a lot. So we're going to have fun and fly around.
And about the weather, too.
Oh, and the weather, we've been in worse conditions. We played in worse conditions. We were just talking about that before we left the hotel. We played in worse conditions. So I feel like, it can either be a good thing or a bad thing. It's a mental thing, I would say, when you're playing football, the weather. It's going to be a little chilly. I will have a long sleeve on, but I feel like we're going to be perfectly fine.
For all of you guys, start with Zion. What is the coldest football game that you can ever remember?
We played App State in 2020. I'll say maybe 20-something degrees, and the wind was probably 30 miles per hour, and it was raining. The rain was sideways, literally sideways, but that's probably the worst conditions. We're trying to hold down the tents on the sideline, the tents flying away. Couldn't feel your hands no matter what you did. I put warm skin lotion on, everything. It just still didn't work, But I'll probably say that's the worst conditions I ever played in.
Chris?
That would definitely be the worst because where I'm from, you hunt. But once your feet get wet, your hands get cold, your ears get cold, it's done. There's nothing that you can do. Plus playing behind Elijah Mitchell and Trey Regis, they played in most of the game, and I'm on the sideline just watching. So I'm over there freezing to death. Got 3 jackets on, 2 beanies, but it's not working. But it was a great experience. It's a lot to learn from just playing in that type of weather, that type of condition. Then getting back to Louisiana where it's almost 90, 100 degrees. So it's things that we've been through and we battled it, but it's been great. So there's nothing else we'll face worse than that.
Well, I guess it wasn't a game, but whenever I went from Jacksonville to Calgary, when I left Jacksonville, it was 90 degrees, and the next morning at practice in Calgary, it was about 10 degrees. So that was a little bit of a shock. But yeah, no, these guys are the ones that got to play in it. So they've handled it well before, so they'll do it again.
While I have the mic, if I could ask you, Coach, I know you weren't around that far back. You're not old like me, but does this bowl game almost complete a circle since back in the 76, 77, 78, during that time, this bowl game featured the winner of the Southland Conference, which then USL was a part of. Is this sort of completing a circle?
I don't know. I mean, I think for us it's a bowl game that I think it's one that we've always been very intrigued by, being in state. It's one that has got a long history of good football. I've got memories of watching it whenever I was young. The Snow Bowl, I think, is the one that everybody kind of, remembers from the Independence Bowl. But, for us, it's just a really good match. I mean, you heard Zion talk about his family being able to be here. Chris's family's right on I-20, straight shot over. I mean, it's just, I don't know about the history part of it because a lot of our players, they don't really even know anything about the Southland, that UO was a part of it at the time. But for us, I know it's just a great opportunity. It's something that we're excited about. And it's been, up to this point, it's been nothing but it's exceeded expectations.
Michael, as you've prepared for this game, just curious offensively with what Houston brings, specifically with Dell and Toon, if you could kind of just give your thoughts on that duo right there and sort of how you approach facing a prolific offense like that.
Well, I think it starts, with Coach Holgerson and Coach Dawson. Those guys, they're really, really talented offensive minds. And, those guys have coached good ball everywhere they've been. They do a great job. Quarterback's extremely talented. He's got arm talent. He's athletic. He can run. He can get out of the pocket. The receiver, he's just one of those guys that you get the ball in space and he's hard to get on the ground. And, that's they don't turn the ball over a whole lot. Quarterback makes good decisions, which is always a key part of it, particularly when you throw it as much as they do. But, yeah, those guys, you can tell they've got a chemistry. They know quarterback knows where the receiver's going to be. You trust them. The receiver makes plays. You got to know where he's at all times. You got to put pressure on the quarterback. You got to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. Got to make sure that you get pushed. You can't just sit back there and hold it. And then the secondary, you got to contest everything. And, it's got to be contested catches. It's got to be catch tackles. And when you hit people, you got to hit them. Same thing with the quarterback. Everything that you can do legally within the game, you've got to affect the quarterback. You got to knock him on the ground. You got to have pressure on him, and you got to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. And, you do that over the course of a game, and the long-term effect is what you're looking for in the end. Hopefully the cumulative effect, you can rattle them and you can keep them off of their game, but they're going to make plays. We know that. They've got good players, They've got a good team. So, you just got to play the long game with them, and you got to do it early and often, and you just got to kind of stick to what you believe works.
Good morning, guys. This is for everyone. About a half dozen players from this corner of the 318. A lot of the talk has been about how families will be able to come and see this game. Have you seen those players from this area have a little bit more pep in their step this week, starting with Zion?
I'll say the main person I've been noticing is A.J. Gilly. This is Stomping Grounds, our offensive lineman. He came up to me I'll probably say about 5 times since we've been out here saying his family's coming, but I'm excited for him. That's a lot of things that a lot of players don't get to experience. A lot of players are far away from home. But that's something I'm excited. I'm more excited than him for his family to watch him play, because not every family member is going to make every game. But this game, I would say I'm excited to see A.J. Gilly play, excited to see him go.
A lot of guys are close to home, so bringing their family, I know they're going to bring the energy, but just look in the stands. Once you look in the stands, you see your family up there, at least it brings you to a different level. So I got my mom, she's coming, but I got my fiance's family coming from Texas, and also I got my second family I live with. They're all coming from the same place too. But when you look in the stands and you see your family up there, it's like a whole different energy just goes through your body. It's like you want to make them proud. You want to make this team proud. You want to make the Cajun Nation proud. So them just being here, a lot of people get to see their kids play. This might be their last game. You might not never know, but seeing them in the stands is going to bring a lot of energy that we're going to need, and we really appreciate that.
For Zion and Chris, I know you can't see me. Just what can you guys share about just the conversations that you guys had with entering the NFL draft and those conversations? And then two, what is the thing that you hope to get out of most in this game in your last time playing as it pertains to the next step in your career?
I would say the thing I'm worried about most is, like I said, cherishing the time with my teammates. I've been here 6 years. I'll say I'm the vet on the team, but cherishing my time with my teammates is something big. Every time we're at the hotel, I'm in another teammate's room, enjoying their time, enjoying each other's time. And I would say declaring for the draft, that's a big thing. That's something some kids dream of since 4 years old. That is a big goal of mine, in life also. For a second in football, I didn't know if I was going to keep playing or not, But that was a decision I made, and I thank Coach Des for it, a tough decision I had to make. And I decided to put my head down and work, so I'm ready to see what the next level holds.
Coach, is it becoming more common to work on recruiting and having the National Signing Day during bowl season, or what is the challenges of being able to pull off signing day during bowl week?
Well, I think there's always a lot of irons in the fire, and I think, for us, it's not unique. Our bowls tend to be a little bit earlier in bowl season, so for us, this is something that we've been through for a while. I think the big thing that you have to do is you just have to be organized and plan out your time, and you set the schedule, and you got to make sure that you have time for recruiting. That's always important. I think recruiting, obviously, everyone knows you've got to continue to recruit good players to win. I mean, you don't play in bowl games if you don't have good players. But it's really balancing doing what's right for the team that you've got currently because they want to win. And so our number one job is to make sure we get them prepared to go play. And then all the time in between, you're preparing to sign the next class, and you're preparing to get those guys on board so you can come back and do it again. So our staff does a phenomenal job. All of our recruiting personnel, they've done a great job throughout this whole thing. Recruiting is it's a year-long process, and it starts with just a tape, right, in the name of a person that you really don't know anything about. And then all of a sudden you get to signing day, and then, your family, like you've built these relationships with them, and it's the beginning of something. I was fortunate enough to be a part of both of these guys recruiting. And I mean, that's what, as a coaching staff, it's so exciting because it's not that you're trying to replace the next group, but it's just you're bringing the next group in. It's more about being able to bring them in and create those relationships. And, I've told our team this a bunch of times, this is like a funny part of the year because, yeah, you're excited about the class that you signed yesterday, but God, man, I'm dreading tomorrow, the end of the game, with these guys leaving. I really am. Because it's never the same, when you lose the seniors, the next team takes its own identity and it has its own type of, character. So, yeah, you're juggling a lot of things. But these guys are and have been our focus since we've been here, and we want to send them out the right way, tomorrow with a win.
Perfect segue, Chris. You've been a part of this 5-year bowling run under the Cajuns, and you've seen Coach as he was an offensive coordinator. How excited are you for him in this moment to have had this leading role leading you all here? And then my second question is, just talk about how efficient the run game is going to have to be in tomorrow's conditions.
Okay, I would say it's really exciting because last year he stepped in as his first game being a bowl game, and he did really great. But I didn't get to be a part of that on the field as I was off the field. So for my part, I was just like coaching-wise, getting the running backs ready, but seeing him call plays, seeing him be able to step up when he needs to, call the plays that he needs to, get the guys excited to go and play. It was great to watch. Now that I get to be a part of it, I'm even more excited because I know he's going to take care of us. He's going to take care of me, myself, just giving us the opportunity to go out there and win. What was your second question again?
How efficient the run game is going to have to be tomorrow.
It's going to be pretty good. I think for us is run the ball at will, throw the ball at will. If we can do that, we can go out there and handle anybody. It don't matter who it is. Just do what we got to do whenever we want to do it. So with those O-line up front, they're excited to be here. You get O-line a couple days off, a couple weeks off. They're fresh. They're big guys. They're ready to go. It's going to be good.
Any other questions? One more.
Coach, you mentioned, and for both the guys too, you mentioned being involved with these two guys right from the start. You're on the staff, 40 wins in 4 years. What does that say about the legacy of this group?
I mean, no one else has ever done it. And any time, we've been playing football here for a long time. You've had some great players here. You get on the list, the Jake Delhomme, Brandon Stokely's, Peanut Tillman's. I mean, the list goes on and on. And anytime you can say that a class is the first to ever do it, I think that's saying something. So I tell these guys this. What they're leaving behind, though, with the group that's going to stay here, it means more, and it's more significant than the 40 wins in 4 years. People don't understand that are outside of our locker room, that don't understand. But if you're in it, you understand why this team's been able to handle the adversity that we've had, really since last December, right? They've been able to handle the adversity. It's because of these guys. And it's a lot to say because 40 wins in 4 years is a heck of a lot, and we'll take that. And if we can bottle that up and keep doing it, but their legacy with this team goes way beyond that, and it means way more to me because our team and the character of our team comes from that group and their leadership. So, I'll let them talk about what it means to them, but I know for me, the things that they've done in that locker room mean more than any of that.
I would say the legacy is a big thing. I came in 2017. I would say that's the class I would say that started the movement. That's kind of when the culture started changing. And I would say that's a big thing to me. It's a very big thing. But I'm also excited to come back next year and see the other defensive linemen play. I'm happy to see the freshmen step up and play their role. Because I feel like a lot of freshmen, they sit back and watch the older guys. They're waiting for their turn. But the legacy you leave somewhere is a big thing, I would say. It's how people remember you, how they're going to remember you, how you went about your way, how you worked. So the legacy is a big thing for me, and I feel like we're leaving a good one. We're going to leave off on a good note.
Let's do James in the back and then Wesley, and that'll be it.
Chris, my question is for you. I'm James Haddon, KSLA News 12. I wanted to ask a similar question to Megan, but how excited are you to be the running back now in this cold game? Because you mentioned earlier how you didn't get a chance to play in that game and you're trying to stay warm. How excited are you just to be the running back and kind of be the key back in this game?
Oh, I'm excited. This is just not for me. This is for UL. This is for Lafayette. So for me out there and go out there and represent, it's not just a name on the back, it's a name on the front. And when I signed here in 2018, I knew what I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to help this team win championship, and that's what we've done. So I just want to keep out there and just go do what I can do to help this team win another game and go out in a great way.
Coach, you have talked all week about the respect you have for Coach Holgorsen at Houston. There's the contrast there, right? He's been there, done that everywhere he's gone. You're young in your head coaching career. What's your relationship like with him, and have you had any maybe one-on-one conversations with him this week?
With Coach Holgorsen? No, all of our conversations have been very, very light. We met for the first time over here at the bowl game. So my respect and admiration has been for his career and what I've seen him do. I know Shannon a little bit personally, just from being on the road recruiting a little bit. But this coaching thing, everybody starts somewhere, and I'm proud of my path that I've been able to take to get here. And I've had great mentors along the way too. So, it's exciting for me, but it's always been more about these kids than it ever has been or will be about me. And I'm excited for them to get to go play in this bowl game because they earned it. And, probably in the middle of the year, whenever things kind of got a little bit shaky for us, we sat down and we said as a team, what do we want? Do we want this? Do we not? And it was up to them to decide that they wanted it, and they did, and they attacked it, and here we are. And I'm proud of the resolve this team has. And when you got a team that wants to play and they're hungry, you can go out there and you can go do something. And these guys are going to be ready to go play on Friday.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank
Coach,
you.
if you could stay up there for a sec, we're going to do a photo op with you and Coach Holgorsen.
Okay.
Change that.
Mm-hmm. How you doing? Charlie, nice to meet you. Oh, are you? I guess we'll do that then, right?
You guys got one too.
Yeah. Half of them all look the same. Coach. Yep, thank you.
All right, guys. Second part of the pregame press conference, we have the Houston Cougars head coach Dana Holgerson, quarterback Clayton Toon, and wide receiver Nathaniel Tank Dell. Coach, we'll start with a statement from you, and then go into questions. Remember, guys, raise your hand. We'll bring you a mic for the questions.
Just on behalf of the University of Houston and our athletic department football program, want to express how extremely happy we are to be here in Shreveport. I think the Independence Bowl is this, I think it's either 46th or 47th game, but anyway, that's a long time, and so they've been doing a great job with this bowl game for a long time, and we're excited about being here. Excited about the matchup against the University of Louisiana. They're a good neighbor to us. Louisiana's a good neighbor to us, and we're excited about being here. The hospitality has been great. These guys know what they're doing when it comes to hosting a bowl game, so looking forward to the matchup here tomorrow afternoon.
Coaching for both of the guys, what's the coldest football game you were ever a part of?
This ain't close. I grew up in Iowa. And I played, one of my college games was in Moorhead, Minnesota, which is really cold. And I think the temperature was like -5 with wind chill of like -50. Here's the deal. There's a freeze coming tonight, nothing we can do about that. It's beautiful out there right now. I wish we could play in weather that was out there right now. So it's going to drop and get a little colder, but hopefully the sun's out. The last time I checked, both teams will be playing in the same conditions, so it's not an advantage to anybody. The NFL does it all the time for about 2 months out of the year. Watched the game the other night in Green Bay. That was colder than what we're going to play in. So weather's weather, deal with it. There's heaters and benches and all that stuff, gloves. I think we'll deal with it just fine.
For the guys, what's the coldest games y'all played in?
I think it was the UConn game last year. We played in Connecticut late in the season. I think we kicked off at noon, so it wasn't bad at kickoff. But once the sun dropped below the stadium and we were all in the shade, it was pretty cold. I don't remember how cold it was, but it got pretty cold.
For me, I think I'd say Temple game last year. It was like raining type, and it was cold, so
windy.
Yeah. Is it supposed to rain tomorrow?
No.
No. Is it supposed to be like windy? It is supposed to be windy.
How windy?
So that's the two things. Look, I mean, I grew up in Iowa and I was in West Virginia for 8 years. We've played in some cold games. You mentioned, 2 of those games last year were chilly. Kind of sleeting rain is where it really gets you, right? So, if it's not going to do that, it's going to be tolerable.
Dana, this time of year, schools around the country are dealing with guys that opt out or don't play, prepare for the draft. You didn't have any of that, including these two guys that could have opted out. What does that say about your team that you have your full
Yeah,
confidence?
these are my guys up here, but they love playing the game, and it's exhausting to read about that. It's exhausting to talk about that. It's a football game, man, and we're a football team. So, what you do is you play football with your brothers and your teammates, regardless of what it is and where it is. I can understand when there's like an injury situation, or like last year, both Marcus and Logan were injured, and so they both had surgery in preparation for their NFL career. I get that. I mean, that's a part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game, and you got to deal with them when you got to do that. But these guys are loyal, they're healthy, and they're ready to play football.
Hello, Coach Holgerson. I'm James Haddon at KSLA News 12. I know you mentioned that you've coached, of course, in cold games before, and so, of course, the prolific offense shouldn't change. But I wanted to ask just about the weather. How does that affect whether maybe it be the game plan or kind of how you guys go about trying to attack UL tomorrow?
We have implemented the triple option over the last 2 weeks. So we're going to run the ball a lot. It doesn't really affect it. I mean, we were, game 3 against Kansas, it poured for a whole quarter, and we were still throwing the ball around a little bit. So, unless it's like severe, like rainy conditions, it ain't gonna change what you do.
Coach, at the beginning of the bowl selection, you talked about the schedule and where this bowl game fell and how that resulted in your recruiting and finishing out signing day. Did the whole schedule go as according to plan as far as juggling both National Signing Day and bowl prep?
It did. Things are just so different now than they used to be. Everybody used to be, can't wait to get to a bowl game. That's the goal. So you can get 15 extra practices and develop young kids. That's a bunch of garbage. It don't happen. There's transfer portal people that are not here. There's, the signing class that we signed yesterday, we're pretty fired up about. We had 5 or 6 official. These guys have been great when it comes to helping us recruit. They're not going to be on our team next year, but they care about this program, and so they helped us recruit. And we got some guys that we're pretty excited about, for the future. So, but we did target this bowl. One, I've never been to the Independence Bowl, and the hospitality here is second to none in the 22 bowl games that I've been a part of in the last 23 years. But the date was important. Okay, so a lot of the games that were on Friday night and Saturday night last week, I had zero interest in that because recruiting is pretty important, especially in our situation where we're trying to transition from American to Big 12, which is Group of 5 to Power 5, and we got to kind of change the roster a little bit to be able to compete. So we practiced on Saturday morning. We had official visitors in Friday and Saturday. We practiced on Sunday. We practiced on Monday morning, and then we drove 5 hours in pouring rain to come to Shreveport, and we're ready to roll. So I don't know how teams finished out their recruiting classes when they couldn't recruit for 5 days. Makes no sense to me. We got to fix the calendar. It's absurd that we're trying to do all this, and it's got to change.
Clayton, back on the, you never made an announcement. You didn't have to make an announcement whether you were going to play or not, but what went into your thinking about wanting to play in this game? And Tank told us last week that, he wanted to do it for you. Was it sort of the same feeling knowing what you've gone through with him?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of thought put into it. It's just, it's another game. It's another opportunity to go out and play. This is my last season, and, I want to go out with the win and, enjoy every moment I can with my brothers. Like Coach Holgerson was saying, it's, it's you don't get a whole lot of opportunities to play with these guys, and it goes fast. So that was the main thing, is just another opportunity to play and play with Tank and other guys, other seniors, and love playing the game, and that's really all that went into it.
Tank, if I could toss this one real quick to you, just do you remember the first time you met Clayton? We talk about the chemistry you guys have, but where did it begin?
I would say like the summer of 2020. When COVID hit, we started getting together every chance we could, and we was just like going like off campus to run routes, like at a park or something. I forgot what it was, but we was just running routes at a park and things like that.
This question is for both players. I wanted to ask, of course, with things starting to wind down, what has been your favorite part about this experience, just kind of coming to this bowl game and kind of being here in Shreveport?
Just being around my brothers, this our last couple of days with each other till we all go off on our own and do our own thing. So just being around my brothers and my teammates, coaches.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Just all being together in one place and hanging out and really enjoying each other's company. The hospitality's been great. I've actually really never been to Shreveport. I've driven through, but I've never stayed here, and so I've grown to like it. It's a cool city. It's got a lot to offer. So just seeing the city and hanging out with the guys has been the most fun for me.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Coach, it is a neutral site game, but do you treat this as a road game in a way for playing a Louisiana school in Louisiana?
I hadn't really thought about it. I wish there was going to be a sold-out crowd. It's what bowl games are about. I've kicked this around a little bit. We talked about it the other night, but I wish this was week 0. It'd be packed, and it'd probably be 50-50. I think I mentioned this last night that bowl games are important. They're going to create memories. They're going to create friendships. They don't need to go away. I'm worried about them. I'm worried about the future of bowl games because of CFP, conference realignment, divisions, parity, all that. I think they need to continue because it brings people together. If you did it week 0, there'd be probably, what's the stadium hold? 50? So, there'd be 50,000 people, and it'd probably be 20,000 from UL and 20,000 from UH and 10,000 from Shreveport. And there'd be a bunch of money raised, and they'd showcase the city. And it'd be very charitable, extremely charitable, and it'd be a heck of a game because everybody's undefeated and excited. Those games need to continue. So I don't even remember what your question was, but but I don't care if there's 50,000 or 5,000, and I don't care who they are. It doesn't matter. We're going to be ready to play.
Coach, tomorrow you go against a coach at the end of his first year of being a head college football coach. What advice would you give him or any other first-year head college football coach?
Well, I'm not going to give him any advice. I don't want him to have any advantage. My first bowl game, we won 70-30 against Clemson, so that was my first one that I coached in, so I'm not going to give him any beginner's luck whatsoever. I mean, we're going to try to win this game. It's all about the Cougars here, man.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.